if you come back as a dog, or if you came back as a monkey, or if you came back, you have to be whatever you have to be in this life. You better make sure you be it really good. So if you live this life as a dirty rat, you better hope you don't come back as a dirty rat. There you go. So this is the thing. So I'm going with you and where you're going with this, right? And so I understand that.
That's called Dharma in Buddhism. And the Dharma talks about cycles.
Exactly.
These cycles in modern physics, we call them timelines.
Okay.
Right? Timelines on a pattern look more like a lightning bolt than a straight line. The timeline only ends where it ends at. Just like the electrical bolt have fingers that end in different places, but they all different timelines. Right? And the source of the bolt is the initiation of the timeline. Science today call it the Big Bang.
Right.
Right. So I always ask them who turned on the switch.
There you go. I asked what banged. Right. Okay. So yeah.
if we go by the Egyptian doctrine where they teach us about the primordial moon, the infinite waters of the mother's womb, it's called the primordial moon, where you get your modern nuns from. The nuns were the original priestesses of the mother of the noon, which they called Aset.
Right.
Right? Because at noon, she sat down in her throne.
Okay.
Right? So they become the mirror reflection of the light because they used to wear white. But when they inverted the gender of the priesthood and usurped the women, they gave the high priestess white to the Pope.
Okay, come on. Now it's getting hot in here.
The Pope is your quintessential representative of your Jacobite, your underminer, your supplanter, who sits under the throne of the Great Mother. And they tell you a lie and tell you it's the throne of St. Peter. But the throne of St. Peter is in a whole different part of Europe. And there's nowhere that size.
Wow. Talking about St. Peter and the Pope, talk to us about this Pope passing away. Just throwing this in, I'm not trying to stop your flow, but the Pope passing away right after the Easter celebration.
So the first thing we have to do is see through the BS. The Pope been gone.
I knew you were going to say that. Where's my bomb drop? Like, I'm always bad. I thought that.
Yeah, bless up, sir.
Bless up.
Right? Yeah, man, bless up. Brother Hayes, you don't know, big up yourself. Sakina, now, bless up yourself. I Rastafari, so that's right. But I heard you said something to an extent of, we coming down here. So I would like you to expound, because you know the Dogans talk about us coming from the stars, but I would like to make the connection also that we didn't come from the stars, or we came from the stars, and how did we come through our mom's portal from the dad's seed? And you're saying like we come from somewhere to down here. So like, you know, elaborate and kind of make the connection for me, please.
The father's seed is secondary in creation. The Y chromosome is an X with an atrophied appendix, and it has about 30% less genetic information than an X chromosome. Right? The reason why is that the mutation was activated in a prior time by the will of the feminine to change the makeup and structure to produce the masculine. Right? Credo Mutua give it to us in the separating of genders through the red light and the blue light. So, but this is metaphoric for the training of the royal family. The red house trains the mother's children and the blue house trains the father's children. This became your Scottish Rite and York Rite Masons, right? Now, the hierarchy of what they call principalities, which is frequency waves of the earth, the people first have to call on a personal family leader, who then calls on the community leader. The community leader then calls upon the multiple community leader. So the grievances vex go through a chain of command on the father line as the ruler line, the governors of the mother's realm, guardians of the sacred yoni, protector of women. So in the process of the training, he has to understand what he's protecting in order for him to be an effective protector. So the reduced genetic matter caused the man to take on a different form as the woman in order to be her protector. But all zygotes, meaning the children, before the mother sends them the permission to convert gender, are female. They become, once her chemistry determines she's going to let the Y chromosome activate, she changes the gender to male in utero. The male then forms into the masculine protector of the feminine. Then once this happens, she produces a male child. But the source still has to trace back to the powerhouse of the cell called mitochondria. Now, because of the missing genetic matter, the men cannot pass mitochondria, but it's required to power the cell of the masculine. The process by which the mother selects the son's wife is by frequency of mitochondria. She don't never have to personally meet her, but the mitochondrial frequencies have to match the unconditional love frequency. And this frequency is what's the sacred marriage or the holy marriage, the uniting of Tahuti and Isis, or the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine being joined as one in order to be a pair of gods as co-creators of the reality. And it's known as the holy drama, as it's played out in the story of Osiris and Isis. And the Dogons also teach the holy drama, but they don't teach it exoterically, they teach it esoterically. The exoteric is the arrival of the Syrians in order to give from Sirius B in order to deliver.
Come on, feed.
The Pope been gone. Look, they've been using an android in public masquerading as this Pope. He been dead for some years.
Wow.
And you got to remember, before him was what? Pope Francis?
Yeah,
right?
No, he was Pope Francis. Before him was the Pope, the German one.
Was it Benedict?
The one, Benedict, yeah.
Right.
He was the Nazi one, remember? Yeah.
That's why he allegedly stepped down. It's a lifelong position. You cannot step down.
And I should say allegedly, YouTube. Don't mess with us. Go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Hayes.
You can't step down from the position of Pope. You can only leave it by death.
Come on.
So they gave us Francis, because Francis is a talking mule.
Well, come on.
Right? For those who don't know who Francis the Talking Mule was, it's a sitcom from the 50s.
Oh, wow.
The mule is the symbol of the Democratic Party.
Right.
But we in a republic.
Make it make sense.
Now, when the symbol was the elephant and the donkey, is when it was the Democratic Republic Party, a political faction led by a talking ass. Oh. They tell us a story and they put it in the art and entertainment because it's like playing concentration. Flip this card. Okay, what's the other card?
Right. And don't forget Shrek. The talking donkey, right? They show us right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Now, there was also a horse. See, Francis was the talking mule, and Mr. Ed was the horse.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
And Ed was the one that used to do the clearance house sweepstakes that they said he never did it. Mandela effect.
Wow.
Right.
I'm trying to
All
think.
of us remember him on Johnny Carson giving out Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes and showing the clips of him going up the people's door with the balloons and the giant check. But they told us none of that ever happened.
Ed
Oh
McMahon.
yeah, I remember seeing. You mean when they went up to people's homes and gave them the
Yeah,
check? They said that didn't happen.
that's a Mandela effect.
Oh, what?
And then he went to Star Search. Right?
The Mandela effect is a sudden shift in the timeline due to a major catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
So the timelines being jumped mean that a major catastrophe triggered the jump in the timeline.
You think that the Hadron Collider at CERN is something to do with the time being warped or changed?
They used it to create what we see as the 3D in the way that we have to have sleep.
Okay.
If you look at the spirals going up through dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
the last time one was open was during the Anunnaki Wars, and they blew it to collapse the fourth dimension into the third, so we would require sleep.
Oh, okay.
But we would be stuck in what's called a permanent infinity loop because nobody will ever figure out at the right time what we call a Maherta. When the center of the universe is in direct alignment to the earth, to alert enough people to make the jump out of the infinity loop into the ascension loop. But they was wrong about one. So now that we done flipped through the infinity loop, we in the trajectory of the ascension loop. And the things that we seeing as Mandela effects, right, is the resonance and the residue of a shifted system. With the system, if the system shift, we have to have a way to know that it shift that's readable to the highest intelligences of the planet. So they give you a Mandela effect. That's telling you there's a major shift because it's all mathematics. And it's playing out as three-dimensional human life. Powerful people in powerful places making powerful moves all in our face. When they don't know that the power is in the people, when the focus and concentration on the people are the problem, that the ones that appears to be in power is focusing their attention on in order for the people to determine the solution. And when they get fed up with it, they say, we're not playing no more. Game is over. They tricking us into continuously playing into their storylines with what we call mainstream media, but it's losing its grip. That means that the hypnotic trance they had us in is wearing off. And they use the media to do it. Now we don't trust the media.
We don't trust the media because the media is set up. We've seen there's been breakdowns, right? The veil, or what you said with the like the Wizard of Oz, the veil has fallen before, and they put it back up and say, "Oh, you didn't see anything," you know. So, I just want to ask you about a little bit more to go into when you said the thing about dreaming and sleep. This is actually mainstream scientific research where they're trying to figure out why the brain
requires sleep,
and not just requires sleep. When we do dream, the brain isn't programmed. It is not wired or programmed to remember dreams, but we remember everything else. Why? Talk to us about dreaming, because you were going in for a minute there. I want to hear about is that a connection to us to the other realms when we?
Yes, it's a direct link. The reason we don't remember the dreams, those are different timelines. when we leave here, we used to do this without going to sleep in the physical.
Okay. Yes.
It was like we had a switch in the physical to leave the body on autopilot to follow muscle memory while we go in another dimension and do something else. We didn't need rest. Right? Now we need rest because the fourth and third dimension is crashed into each other, pinched at the infinity loop. So we was going at the bottom, then the top, which created the mirror universe as above, so below.
Okay.
The stars we see in the sky is reflection of the people we see on the ground.
I think my mom used to say that to us.
Right? This is why they give you a zodiac sign. The zodiac sign is reading the frequency of energy in which you came into the physical body in order to know what channel to tune your radio station in to know how you gonna act.
So are we infinite life? Like, is this the stars? Basically, there's billions and billions. What my mom used to actually say is, as many stars as you see up there is how many people. But I'm not saying that's correct. However, you're saying we're reflecting. Are we seeing our different lives up there? So
we are, that's in our light body form. You know, your light body form. You just a star. You a big, bright, glowing orb. You use your creative potentiality to move that orb into all type of shapes and forms. So we come down here to play this game called human life.
Right.
Okay.
It's only one way we can get here, so we never lose sight of who started it all, Big Mama. Because the only way we can get here is she got to let us come through the gate.
And when you say Big Mama, I know there's a microcosm. We think of the actual mother, the material human, but there's also the cosmos, the universe that is
That's the only place that creation is simulated, as in creation itself is in the womb.
Yes, but what about the Milky Way, the galaxies? That's a Big Mama too, right?
That's just like her chakra. That might be her ankle chakra. Because it's a swirl of energy. All of the galaxies are swirls of energy. They're just chakras. In the uterus, they forming into different beings by putting all of their cells together. She's getting ready to give birth, and we waiting on our turn to be birthed into a new life.
So is she consciousness that we talk about? Is she actually I call it the universal mind of God, but is the mother consciousness? Or what is it?
That's her. That's Big Mama. Big Mama is also represented in the temples of Dendera. In the star map up there has her as Tawaret. She is the hippopotamus goddess to represent Big Mama. She got the alligator back, Sobek priest, right? That means she was an upright woman. She have a cleaver in her right hand. And she'll chop your goddamn head off by her babies. Right? And she have very elongated breasts because she had to suckle all of us. Right?
What about the brothers who are feeling like, why is the teacher, why is the chief leaving the man out? Because we did talk to some brothers saying, where's the divine masculine? Can you
tell him to show up? Tell him to show his tough ass up. Because the divine masculine is the one who's confident enough in his masculinity to not be intimidated to honor the feminine. The God man is the man that's God enough to tell you God is a woman without feeling no kind of way about it. I'm not offended by it. It don't make me feel lesser. It just tell me that y'all better get Big Mama and her babies her shit back, or you're gonna make us male guys begin to act the fool.
Right. We're looking at the feminine divine is there. We're looking at the masculine divine with what you're saying. Why can they not? Why is it so hard for some, not all, brothers to connect that when a man tells the truth about the feminine divine, that is literally the masculine divine? Why is it hard?
Because he ain't divine yet.
Uh-oh. Let me get my bomb.
Listen, you trying to explain physics to a second grader.
My bomb is on a delay.
Our educational system is designed to arrest the mental thinking development at the age of 6.
Oh, okay.
It's a 12-step thinking detoxification program given to us under the pretenses of teaching our children. A thinking individual is not fit to be a slave.
Okay. Yes.
You have to be a go along to get along, well-trained, conditioned servant. I call them angry sheep.
Oh, wow.
That's what they is. They angry sheep. They get mad because you don't go along to get along because they want to go along to get along.
And then they call you a simp, right? Or not you, but they'll call the brother a simp, right?
Yeah, but ain't no simping in my pimping.
No, I'm not saying you. That's why I made it clear.
I want them to say it, but ain't no simping in my pimping.
You know what? I'll be dropping bombs through the whole show, so I'm just going to have a limit of bombs on here.
Look, I say it again. I'm going to say it again. The God man is the man that's confident in his masculinity to not be intimidated to tell you that God is a woman.